Is it enough? It's gone! Cubs win!
Chris Bryant delivers another long ball.
And now Episdoe cracks one deep to left field, and that one is gone.
He's got it. Kyle Hendricks goes all the way and shuts out the Cardinals by a score of 4-0. A four-hitter. All of the hits were singles. He walked no one, and he is being congratulated, or at least he will be here in a moment, by all of his Cub teammates. That is in the masterpiece category.
There's a drive to center. Buxton comes in, plays it on a hop. Here comes the throw to the plate. Got him! They got him!
Ohtani is out. Byron with a strike to the plate to keep the Twins in front by one.
And we are live. All-Star game. Done. Home Run Derby. Done. Check it off the list. Halfway through the season. Here. What a first half.
Yeah.
But let's introduce ourselves again, because sometimes people can't read the names. I am Amos. It's over there.
I'm Amish.
That's Amish. That dude knows way more than I do. So. Previous podcasts would prove that is indeed a fact. But welcome, everyone. If you are here on Twitch, we are streaming live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Hot Takes Corner. If you don't catch it here, we will put it up on the YouTube channel and Anchor, of course. So you can check us out. That's just 3 of many more ways you can catch all of our content here. So, how was your week, first of all?
Busy. This new job thing's kicking my butt, but hey,
You're going to get back into the swing of things, right?
I will say.
Speaking of getting in the back of the swing of things, let's go ahead and, if you want, let's quickly. I know the Home Run Derby and All-Star game came first, but I really want to talk about the Angels game last night.
Yeah.
Against, of course, the Seattle Mariners. But we got to talk about, obviously, how big of a deal it is to have a no-hitter, a combined no-hitter, by the way. A combined no-hitter, and it was one walk away from being a perfect game. They issued one walk in the game. So,
I did not know.
I don't know who did that. But, now, while I don't know the exact layout, I know the starter went, I think...
He was the opener, and then...
Opener, right.
Pena took over for him, I believe.
Right, and he pitched 7 innings, which was good. I still don't know why I haven't picked him up in fantasy yet, but I'll regress. But they stomped a mud hole in the Mariners. Not only did they not get a hit, but I think it was like 14-0.
Yeah, accentuated by Mike Trout's 454-foot home run.
Right. I think what amazed me the most about that game was what happened after the game. Besides the no-hitter, that's amazing. But the team showing unity and solidarity.
Like the scene from Rudy, when he doesn't make the final game or whatever, and everybody's willing to give their jersey to Rudy, but in this case...
Yeah, like they put all of their jerseys on the mound in honor of Tyler Skaggs, which this was the first game that they've played without him being here. Yeah. So definitely what a way to come back. There was so many coincidences, to say the least, about this game. I wish I could find where I put all of them, but so here's so here's some of them. And this is by CBS Sports on Twitter. These 4 I got from them. So you have your usual, well, not usual, but maybe not as impressive stat. But Tyler Skaggs' mother threw out the first pitch this game.
Right.
So that
perfect strike too.
Right, better than what some teams could throw. So that's kind of neat. Trout hitting the home run exactly 454 feet, which 45. We know that Tyler Skaggs' number was 45. The franchise. This was the Angels' 11th no-hitter in franchise history. Now, what makes that interesting is that in high school, Tyler Skaggs wore number 11.
Oh, really?
And one final little coincidental note here. They scored 7 runs in the first inning, 13 runs total, so it was 13-0. Mm-hmm. And Skaggs' birthday is 7/13, which is today. So he would have been 28 years old today. And it's a darn shame he couldn't be here to celebrate it. But regardless, there were so many more odd coincidences. I'm going to try to find them as we go through the show. But it was just such... You couldn't make them up. It's like Chris Davis freaky stat.
You found another one of those, too. That was something that happened, I remember, this week or last week. I remember.
I just wish he would change his jersey number to 247.
Yeah, right.
I just don't get it. But yeah, what a game that was played all around by the Angels. No doubt that Mike Trout took extra time around the bases because that was the first home run since the passing of Skaggs. So
For the home game.
right, and I think everyone understood that. As I get an ad here trying to find those stats. But so where do the Angels go from here? You know, Skaggs is gone. Talking business here, not to abruptly change it, but you know, you're obviously missing a big hole in your rotation now. So it makes me wonder what the Angels are going to do to fill that. You know, are they going to go with the opener situation like they did in that game? But yeah, 13-0. You couldn't have done a better game for Tyler Skaggs. So, any thoughts on that game?
Other than all you said, really that kind of wraps it up nicely, and you know, the series continues this weekend against the Mariners, and a late night start for this, you know, one coming up, and
Which means I won't be
other
watching it.
things to do.
Means I cannot watch it.
Well, yeah.
I wish I could watch it, but I can't. I don't mean to be very unprofessional here. I'm trying to look and see if I can find them. I mean, I'm not kidding. These were mind-blowing stats, and it drives me crazy that I did not properly save them.
Well, I don't know. Were you also alluding to kind of where the Angels stand as it is following the All-Star break? They are 5.5 games out of the wild card. 11 back, you know, of Houston, of course. So that's looking pretty insurmountable for the most part at this point, I would say. But yeah, you know, the magic of Skaggs could continue that way as well. You never know. So Texas in a much better situation, 1.5 back in the AL West for the wild card, and 7 back, and then of course Oakland already. If the season ended today, would go to the wild card game, and they're 5.5 back at Houston for the division right now. So. Right.
I found another one.
Yeah.
This one's one of the ones I'll make you just. Okay. So this is by Stats on Twitter. That's their handle, and it says, and I quote: "The Angels paid tribute to Tyler Skaggs by throwing a combined no-hitter against the Mariners in Anaheim. The last time there was a combined no-hitter in the state of California, Orioles and A's in Oakland on July 13th, 1991, the same day that Skaggs was born."
His birthday.
I just...
Day of his birth.
There was so many of those. I'm not kidding. There was so many of those. I don't even know. I wish I could find the rest of them. But that's the tip of the iceberg of crazy facts like that. But if you happen to find some,
now before you know, get our minds just too blown, you know, for human comprehension.
Right? But yeah, so that was really neat. I thought we wanted to lead off with that.
Definitely.
But so the festivities, a little bit on a least magical note, in one ways, but magical in another way.
Mm-hmm.
How about that home run derby?
Boy, we were trading the messages back and forth during that, just like, wow, really? Wow. Glad I hit another one, wow, and another one, wow.
I mean, if you have not seen the home run derby, go watch it.
Please watch it.
I mean, we're gonna review it here, it's just spoilers, but it was really good. It was worth every round was really exciting. Yeah. It really was. And if the baseballs are juiced, if they are, which MLB is saying they're not, but anyone with half a brain can see that's not true. If they're juiced, I don't mind. Because this was exciting. Yeah. Exactly. That was way too fun. So let's start on the left side of the column, and we'll just go first round, second round, and then the final. Okay. So you had your first round, Matt Chapman, who was replacing Christian Yelich, who was out with back issues, which ironically played in the All-Star game. We'll get to that in a second. And he faced someone out of his league, to put it nicely, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
It was nice that Matt could have his dad pitch to him and all of that, but you could obviously see dad was also a little bit out of sorts, not of practice, and you saw that a lot from Vlad, of course, because his guy is the actual BP, pitcher.
Yeah, and you can't really. I don't know what people were expecting out of Matt Chapman in this, because it was literally 24 hours for the home run derby before he was said he was in it.
But yeah, exactly. It was just kind of a token. Oh, I'm gonna live my dream and be in the home run derby kind of thing. Basically.
Yeah, still exciting. I think if he would have had more time, he would have
more time
put up a bigger fight.
Whatever, yeah, right.
But Vlad Guerrero Jr. Pummeled that round. He won 29-13.
Yeah, 29, of course, broke Josh Hamilton's record for one round.
Did that break it or tie it?
Did that tie it? Or I thought it was 28. Wasn't it not 28?
Research. No, it might have been tie, or he might have passed it. There was one point he broke a record.
He eventually broke it anyway.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Second match, we had Alex Bregman versus Jock Peterson.
Boy, were you wrong about that one, huh?
I'm not gonna lie, that was something. Yeah, I know neither one of us really gave Peterson a shot, if I remember correctly. I know I didn't.
Yeah.
I know I didn't.
I didn't either.
But man, by the end of this home run derby, he showed what he was capable of.
He was an inspired guy in many ways.
And Alex Bregman,
clowns like us saying, do it.
Well, don't you know how I work? Every time I say something, the opposite happens. So, Bregman kind of he didn't look like he had it,
Yeah.
I mean, Peterson won that 21-16, which is just tip of the iceberg what Peterson was going to do. But I don't know. It just seemed like, this might be very unfair for me to say, but it kind of looked like it was over before Peterson even stepped in.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really know exactly what to expect. At least I didn't from Peterson when he stepped up for the first time. But, yeah, 16 really wasn't the number that we thought Bregman could carry his round.
Right. But regardless, it was nice to see him in there. Like we said, Peterson won that 21-16. On the other side of the bracket, you had probably the most boring matchup in the first round, which is ironic, but it was Pete Alonso versus Carlos Santana. Yeah. And
close one though.
It was close, but there was nobody that looked more out of place than Santana did. He just did not look like he was ready for it.
And the crowd tried to help their hometown guy, but
call me crazy, but it kind of looked like to me he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
Not because he didn't want to represent Cleveland, but it didn't look like he showed a lot of effort. He always swung the same way. He didn't look like he adjusted his swing, and they were always either rocket home runs, like, wall scrapers, or they were just hot shots down the right field line,
Yeah.
So, of course, you kind of expect Pete Alonso, who's been killing it this year, to overcome that, and he did barely, though. Like you said, barely. 14-13. So, he moves on, and then the last match was a heartbreaker. No, I'm just kidding. The last matchup in the first round was Josh Bell versus Ronald Acuna Jr. And I want to apologize to Acuna Jr. there. Man, I knew Acuna Jr. was good, but I think he had the best round in the first round, period. He didn't have the most home runs, but I don't think he did. No, he didn't have the most. He was close.
Yeah, but his placement, right? All over.
I think that's why he won, because Josh Bell just kept hitting him to the right field side, and Acuna was hitting him everywhere. Like, his spray chart was everywhere. From pole to pole. Oh, absolutely. And it was amazing, some of the like, he hit him to dead center, and it looked like they were jamming him slightly. But, yeah, Ronald Acuna, and my pick was Josh Bell, and, man, I guess he looked wore out. I don't know. I really don't know. I expected a lot more out of him than that. But I guess if he would have went up against Santana or Chapman or even Bregman, he would have won. Yeah. But Ronald Acuna, that was just bad luck of the draw there. But Acuna kind of showing why he's the better hitter, at least right now. That was 25-18, by the way. So your first round was set. Well, before we go in the second round, did you any upsets? Like, did you expect? Like, I know we predicted something different, but looking at it now.
Yeah, you're surprised to see Peterson there, and then you kind of start to get excited. That's what happened next.
Right. I'm just still upset Bell didn't make it. He killed me. All right, second round, and boy, let's start with they were both exciting rounds. But let's start with
the matchup of the night, I would say.
You want to start with that one? Okay, let's start with that one. Vlad Jr. versus Jock Peterson.
Oh my god!
If you have to skip the first round, please start with this one.
If there's any part of it that you can, if you have to zone it down to like just a few minutes of your time, just watch the Guerrero-Peterson matchup, please.
Combined 79 home runs. Ridiculous, to say the least.
I'm trying to remember, was it 3 swings, or was it 2 of those after a bonus minute?
I think they had 3 swing-offs, didn't they?
Was it 3 swing-offs?
Including one where Jock Peterson hit one literally, I'm not kidding, it looked like it scraped over the yellow line.
Yeah.
But he figured out his rhythm. He knew to pull him down that right field side and hit him like a line drive and not a moonshot.
Right.
And I honestly think that helped him conserve more energy for him to go farther. But that has to be a classic. That has to be. That literally has to be.
One of the all-time best matchups in home run derby history by far.
You got the rookie sensation from Canada, from Toronto, I should say, versus the guy that was just kind of like, I'm here.
I'm just gonna be here. Yeah.
But to put in comparison here, Guerrero Jr. and Peterson in the second round hit 79 home runs. The other matchup between Alonso and Acuna, only 39. So they hit 40 home runs more than the other bracket. But it was so good.
20th and end it, but yeah.
Right, and even that matchup was good. That one went down to the wire between Alonso and Acuna.
Last 6 seconds, from what I remember.
Right, and I don't exactly remember how that ended. I think Acuna had the second at bat, if I'm not mistaken. Did he not?
Alonso, because he won 20-19. In those cases where you see the 1 home run difference, I'm pretty sure those were.
Oh, you're right. Batters. You're right. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, I'm thinking of the finals, which we'll hit here in a second.
Yeah.
But going back to the Guerrero Jr. and Peterson match, I just, you expected it to be a slaughter, kind of. Guerrero Jr. hit 29 home runs in the first round. Peterson hit 21. They both really didn't have equal opponents, if that makes any sense. You would have expected Bregman to put up a way bigger fight against Peterson, but you kind of expected Guerrero Jr. to beat Chapman.
Right.
Because of the most time that Guerrero had, like he was hitting home runs off of the hotels or whatever at the Rogers Center. So insane. But yeah, that was a good second round. If you have to watch the home run derby, start the second round, I guess. But so we have Guerrero Jr. versus Pete Alonso. If you could describe this matchup in one word. That's a good one. No, just kidding.
Of course, well, I mean, for me, the first thought in my brain was, how tired is Vlad after that round he had with Peterson?
Right.
How is that going to affect this?
Well, they brought that up because they started almost immediately after the second round was over. So it does make me wonder. I mean, well, I don't think the home runs were down on Guerrero's side, but.
And I can't remember exactly who I tweeted this or who I messaged you to this about this question, but I thought I heard, I can't remember if it was second round or the final 2 rounds or how it worked, that they got 2 timeouts. They got an additional timeout. And I was wondering, why isn't this guy taking this second timeout?
Right. I think that was I remember that.
Thing? Yeah, I'd have to go back to my messenger and look, but
I think that was Alonso, wasn't it?
was it? Okay. I can't remember.
I can't either. But
I just remember messaging and wondering, man.
and by the way, the rule about the ball landing before the next pitch is thrown, just forget about it. It's not. It doesn't exist.
Right.
Doesn't exist. I know we said it last week, but it just doesn't exist. It's just there to look pretty. You
didn't see any, outright blatant, I'm going to, have my pitcher pitch it as quick as he can after I just hit this last one.
Yeah.
It was, it's getting there and almost there before the next pitch starts.
Yeah, and I know there was a couple shots, and I just found this funny, and it was just all 4 of my eyes catching it. They would, when they hit the moon shots, they would, switch to the camera that tracks the ball into the stands.
Yeah, right.
Well, in some of those shots, you could see, not only the ball that was going into the stands, but you could see them hitting that next one as it shot through the screen the first time.
I did not get that, I guess.
But I just found that funny more than anything. It's like, well, those guys are going to be busy.
Yeah.
But what a last round between Guerrero Jr. and Pete Alonso. This one was a coin toss. Like, if you were to bet, you would have had 50. I mean, obviously a 50-50 shot, but no one could come out and confidently say, "Oh, I know 100% Guerrero Jr. was going to win."
Exactly. You would have if that previous round would have ended normally, but it didn't. So.
Right. Yeah. I think the 2 best when it comes to how the brackets were laid out were facing each other.
Exactly.
So,
I agree.
I would have loved to say the Guerrero-Peterson rematch, but I think Guerrero and Alonso was almost just as good, with Alonso winning it in walk-off fashion, 23-22. So they talked about, I think I sent it to you. There was so many home runs, it was like 300 and something.
Okay.
I could do the math quickly here, but it totaled it was the equivalent to 11.7 miles worth of home run distance. So let me see if I can quickly add that up, because that's insane. That's too much. I'm just kidding. It's never too much. Let's see here. So you're looking at almost got it.
Carrier 1, carrier 7. No, I don't know.
Georgia math. 312 home runs. Total. 312 home runs were in this home run derby. And a good 90% of them were very exciting.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But, I mean, it was probably one of the best home run derbies I've watched. I didn't really watch a lot of last year.
Okay.
But I thought the field this year was a lot more interesting.
Okay.
To say the least. But I don't know. That was a good one. So what do you think? You got any final thoughts about it?
No, not really. Vlad came and couldn't quite take the polar bear down. I will look forward to see if both of them are in it again next year. think that might be kind of fun. We'll see how they react to it. Of course, we talked last week about how are these players going to fare in their games now, especially coming out of the gate here at the All-Star break, with hitting.
Or the home run derby curse or whatever it is.
The curse.
I can give you an update on a few of them. Acuna Jr.'s hit a home run after he got brushed back. So,
I did not catch that.
it was whoever the Braves are facing now. I can't recall who it was. I just remember seeing the highlight of it. And Bregman got hit in the face. Not by a pitch, but so he's on the injury list. Or I think he's back. I think he just came back.
I guess I did see something about concussion protocol or whatever. Okay, now that you mentioned it.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good home run derby. Go watch it if you haven't watched it already. Despite us spoiling it, you need to see it.
Yeah,
you need to watch it.
See it to believe it. Braves are in the West Coast against the Padres, by the way.
That's right. Padres. Yeah, because Acuna cracked that one. He cracked that home run left center, which was pretty deep in that ballpark. Switching to the other festivity that happened, the All-Star Game.
Now, I did not get to catch that, but you watched it?
I did watch it. American League coming in, winning 6 in a row. The last 6. Now, on paper, this looked like a really good, very even matchup. And the score was close. The American League did win it 4-3 in a quote-unquote tidy game, which I agree. There were no errors in the game. But despite the score being 4-3, I honestly think the American League showed its superiority in this game.
Would you say that because the pitching seemed a little more solid? Or?
Not only did the pitching seem more solid on the American League side, but the National League hitters swung at everything.
Oh, okay.
They struck out 16 times in this game.
Oh.
While the American League only struck out 7.
Okay.
That's
huge.
That's a pretty big deal. Some of those strikeouts included, Christian Yelich, who doesn't strike out a lot, excuse me. Freddie Freeman, who struck out. He didn't strike out a lot. So the winner was Masahiro Tanaka, who started originally for the American League. I think he did. Let me double check that. Let me make sure I got that. Oh, I'm sorry. Verlander. Excuse me. Verlander got it. Tanaka pitched in the second inning. And then the loss went to Clayton Kershaw, which he pitched in the second inning. So he gave up the first run. I believe that's when what was his name? I think Brantley hit a RBI double. For some reason I was going to say Marlon Gonzalez, but it was not Marlon Gonzalez. So that was 1-0. That was in the bottom of the second. That made it 1-0 American League. And then you go all the way to the 5th inning, where, let me find my proper score here. I'm trying to remember what happened in the 5th inning.
I can't even load mine, man. It's like,
You can do it. No, you can't. Jorge Polanco, right?
Oh, yeah.
Got him an RBI. I'm trying to find how he did it. I know it wasn't a home run.
No.
It must have just been a single then, because I had a box score up here of how they scored, but now I cannot find what I did with it because I'm me. So, here it is. It's on another tab. So that was the bottom of the 5th inning. Yeah, so he just so it was an RBI ground out. So Gary Sanchez scoring that run made it 2-0. Top of the 6th inning, you've got Chuck Nasty at the plate, who has never hit a home run in the All-Star game.
Right. He's won, 4 times now?
Right. And he's facing, at this point, Liam Hendricks of the Oakland Athletics. Cranks a solo home run over the right field wall, and it was a pretty good shot, too. So that made it 2-1, American League. And then the good stuff happened. Bottom 7. Let's see. The National League has Walker Buehler on the mound. I think that's right. No, I'm sorry. Walker Buehler gave up the other run. Let me make sure if I can count correctly. Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers. This is where it kind of there was more runs being scored here. So you're at a 2-1 American League, bottom 7. Starts off kind of boring enough. Xander Bogaerts grabs into a double play. Matt Chapman scores that run. So that was kind of an RBI, double play kind of deal, making it 3-1. And then Joey Gallo shows up, pitching change. So now you have for the National League, where is it? Will Smith, ironically, a very heavily targeted reliever. Right. And Joey Gallo says, "I don't care what you are. I'm going to crank this ball out of the stadium." Now, I think it was definitely I think it was definitely overemphasized. It was not a moonshot, I don't think, especially by Joey Gallo standards. But it was enough to get out. So that made it 4-1. And then you go to the top of the 8th inning with the American League has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brad Hand. Man, nobody on my fantasy team did anything. Anyway, Brad Hand is up. He had a very rough inning. This is the inning I walked. He walked the first 2 batters that he faced. And then, who was it that managed the National League this year? Dave Roberts. He called a substitution. Very a pitch hitter, I guess. Took out Cody Bellinger, who went 0 for 2, struck out twice, by the way. And you called in just a small-time talent called Pete Alonso. We've already talked about him. And what does he do? What do you think he does?
Probably struck out.
Nope. Definitely does not strike out. He hits a line drive double. Or, no, I'm sorry. He singles. I'm looking at the wrong thing. He singles on a line drive to Joey Gallo, scoring both Yasmani Grandal and David Dahl, making it 4-3. So now you have runners on first and second, top of the 8th inning, 4-3 American League.
4-1 after Gallo's homer.
Right. Yeah, sorry. Did I say 3? I might have said 3.
Okay.
So Brad Hand eventually gets out of it, 4-3, and then, you go to the nothing happened in the bottom of the 8th inning. Top of the 9th comes in. The American League calls on Aroldis Chapman. And let me say this, Chapman did not have his fastball. I think he only breached 100 one time. He threw, let's see how many pitches did he throw. Let me find it here. I know it wasn't that much. He threw 12 pitches. Only one of them reached 100. But he's really emphasizing on that slider now that he's getting older. His slider's a lot better, and his fastball is good, but his slider's now starting to become his put-away pitch. Right. And boy, did he show it. Struck out all 3 hitters that he faced, and it wasn't even close. Like, these National League hitters, I'm trying to remember who he struck out. I believe it was Moustakas, lefty, Max Muncy, lefty, and maybe Acuna Jr.? I think it was Acuna Jr. They all struck out. So, well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't Moustakas. I'm sorry. It was Real Muto. Who was it? It's not showing me. Anyway. The point is, Chapman comes in, dominates as he usually does, gets the save. American League wins 4-3. They've now won 7 in a row. Close game on paper. Not a close game when you look at the stats a little closer. National League left 14 men on base. American League did leave their fair share of 11. The National League did take more walks with 3. American League had 1. Only 5 hits for the National League. These are all-stars. Like, these are guys that are here to hit and not strike out. But just to put this in perspective, the National League had 16 strikeouts and 5 hits. The American League had 7 strikeouts and 8 hits. So offensively speaking, you got to give that nod to the American League, obviously because they won the game, but their at-bats just looked a lot better.
Still, right, exactly. Faring against National League pitching. And, I've kind of seen this as an emerging pattern the last couple of years that the American League pitching seems to have taken an edge over the National League, in my humble opinion.
No, that's a pretty good. That's probably accurate. Because it seems like they're always leading in ERA, always leading in wins, always leading in, whatever you want to look at. Hitters hitting against them. You look at what these guys did. Every pitcher of the American League that pitched had a strikeout.
Yeah. Every
single one. Verlander with 2, Tanaka with 1, your boy Jose Barrios, who struck out Acuna on a nasty, just dirt filth, should be illegal. I don't know if it's his slider or his curveball, but it was filthy.
Yeah.
Flat out filthy. He struck out too.
Barrios, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He did very good.
Bieber's strikeout out of him.
Yeah, Bieber's was the biggest one. He struck out the side as well. He got the MVP honors, by the way.
Yeah, well, what did you think? Do you think he deserved it over Gallo?
I guess. I mean, that's kind of a whichever way you look at it. Gallo came and hit that home run, which would have been, which was the difference. But for someone to come in, especially a hometown guy.
Exactly, only the third player to do this in his home park, All-Star.
I guess you could. I guess you could do that. Yeah, I'd be happy with him having that. He was, besides Chapman, he was the only one that struck out the side. Hendricks did get 3 strikeouts for the American League, but he also gave up a run.
Yeah.
That home run. But yeah, I guess Bieber did deserve it.
We'll get this little thing about Gallo. I don't know if you saw this week on the Hot Takes Corner podcast. Check out the Hot Takes Corner Twitter, by the way. But Hembo knows, Paul Hembakidis put this down. Joey Gallo is on pace to become the first player that has at-bats not ending in strikeouts to produce a 500 batting average for a player at-bats not ending in strikeouts.
Wait, run that by me one more time.
He's at 509 in at-bats not ending in strikeouts, his average.
That's Gallo?
Not ending in strikeouts.
You said that's Gallo?
It's Joey Gallo.
Wow.
For him especially, the other guys, comparatively, 1923 Babe Ruth hit 481 at that stat category, and people remember from Cleveland, Manny Ramirez in 2000 at 478.
It's good company. And you're right, that is surprising for someone like Gallo.
Yeah,
but
he used to strike out all the time. He's just having this crazy season. He just does not strike out as much.
Could be good use for the Rangers as they look to stay in the wild card hunt, because that's pretty much all they got. Overall, it was a pretty good All-Star game. It seemed like it was over very quickly. Nothing really of extraordinary feats to mention. It was a good game to watch. There were some intense moments, but it didn't touch the home run derby. But compared to how it was last year, I guess it was a pretty good game. I think they got the lineups right. I think the most surprising thing for me is that Trout didn't get a hit in the game.
Okay, sure.
So, I know that's kind of lame, but that's just, you had your 3 best average guys in the American League. Nobody got a hit. So.
How about all the makeups? Of course, Freddie Freeman's the one that everybody's talking about.
Yes. I loved Freddie Freeman talking. I'm not gonna lie.
Verlander versus Freeman. If you need to watch a All-Star game highlight, watch Verlander versus Freeman, and he's mic'd up for the whole thing.
He was telling Verlander to throw a strike or something. It was funny. I loved it. And then they had the 2 mic-ups in one shot, in one go. They had Yelich and Bellinger.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that one.
That one was a pretty good one. It seemed like they were very confused on who was talking, which it's understandably so, because Christian Yelich and Bellinger, they can't see what we see, so
exactly.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But It was a good All-Star game. I look forward to next year. I don't know who's got it next year, but
yeah, good question.
I know. I think we know who's got it in 2021, but I don't know if they've said who's got it next year.
Is Atlanta next year, or is it 2021?
Atlanta's 2021, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to go to that. I don't care how long I have to wait. I'm going to go. Even if I get nosebleed seats, I'm going.
You'll be up there. You'll be like Bobby Kerr. Hey, everybody.
Nah, I'm going to be holding a Hot Takes Corner podcast sign.
There you go.
That way I'll be able to find myself. Anywho, so yeah, it was a good game. We're back to your second half. So let's go over some small-time headlines, shall we?
Yeah.
Do you have any, or you want me to read the biggest one?
Go ahead. I'm just going to do things as we go here.
All right, so we've got the biggest news. We've got a couple weeks before the trade deadline. No waiver trade deadline anymore. So that may put a lot of pressure on teams to pull the trigger early. And the Red Sox are definitely one of those teams. They did not wait. They would do anything to chase down the Yankees. So today they went out and acquired Andrew Kashner from the Orioles for, I believe it was 2 prospects. And I will see if I can get the prospects here.
And while you're doing that, I need to remember. Now, Kashner, was it last year he was a trade casualty to Atlanta? Then he came back on the offseason to sign with Baltimore before this trade?
I think he's been with the O's for a couple years.
Okay.
Let me
He wasn't with the Atlanta thing at all.
Let me check that. I can check that right now. He's having a really good year, and I didn't expect him to have this good a year as he's been having. He's been so he's been with the Orioles for 2 seasons. This is his second season. In 2016, actually, I'm not seeing where he was with Atlanta at all.
Okay. Must have just been my
Now, I remember when the Cubs traded him way back when to the Padres, where he spent 4 seasons with the Padres. And he had 1 good year, and then he had a horrible year where he went 6-16. But that's not who he is this year. The Orioles are such a bad team, but he's kind of a bright spot. Well, was a bright spot for that team. 9-3, 3.8 ERA. Okay. And considering that team that he's with, that's pretty good.
Yeah, really?
It's pretty solid. Strikeout numbers are a little down, but because you think he was considered a strikeout pitcher, but as of right now, he doesn't look like he is. But pretty good whip. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. I think he's a good fit for Boston. I am curious to see how he will be on a team that actually has some offense. Let's see. So the Orioles got in this trade outfielder Elio Prado and infielder Noel. Good Lord, you people have regular names, please. Noel Berth Romero, outfielder and infielder prospect. So, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that it's because I'm from the South. Southern people aren't that smart. It's okay. I'm from the South. I could say that. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm kind of surprised that that's all they traded for. But we know why the Red Sox got Kashner, as you touched on last week. That when Nathan Eovaldi comes back, he's going to be sliding into the closer role.
Yep.
So Kashner is now your back-end starter to go with Chris Sale, David Price, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Rick Porcello. That ups the Yankees, in my opinion, when it comes to their pitching.
Yeah, I would agree.
But what do you think Kashner's going to do? Like, is he going to make that big of a difference? Because in some ways they're taking a risk on him.
Yeah. I don't know. In 17 starts for the Orioles, I mean, some decent stats, like you said. I guess I kind of want to see how he's done in Fenway too.
Right. Yeah, I would like to see how he does that. He does have that monster in his favor.
Right.
But I guess it's the best you can do. I don't know anything about these prospects that they traded. But I guess if it was a medium risk for a low reward or for a high reward, I guess you kind of want to do anything you can because no doubt the Yankees were probably looking. They're looking for pitchers for some reason.
Always looking.
You know, and one of those people they talked about is Marcus Stroman, who's solid. But I think this is a good pickup for Boston. You know, I mean, they're way behind the Yankees right now. They need every advantage they can get. At this rate, I just don't know if they're fighting for the AL East or if they're fighting for the wild card.
Wild card? Okay.
Only 8.5 back, so they're not out of it by any means. But I think this will be a good deal for them. So we'll see what happens. They're in the middle of a World Series rematch right now against the Dodgers. So good game. Let's see here. And ironically, they're the reason the National League lost the All-Star game. So some minor news here. Well, I say minor news, but depends on how you look at it. Max Scherzer placed on the injury list with on the 10-day injury list with a back strain. Big deal, I guess, if you were any other team, but the Nationals have solid pitching, so maybe not that big of a deal. He may miss one start.
Yeah, exactly. It's short enough a term, and they're 6 back of Atlanta. I don't think that's too concerning at all. Really. I mean, the rebound of comes back with, but he's Max Scherzer, pitches with a black eye for crying out loud.
Another note. I know last week we talked about Francisco Cervelli. And how they were.
He's not going to be a catcher now, huh?
Well, that's the thing. It was definitely reported that he stated that he's done with catching. However, in an interview with MLB.com, he stated that that's not true.
Really?
He said that he's not finished behind the plate, and he wants to return being a catcher, and he don't know how that got misconstrued.
Interesting.
So, I'm going to take it from Cervelli's mouth instead of a third report.
Every time, the horse's mouth, baby.
I guess looking at it now, I don't know why we would ever think he was done with catching. Okay. Especially with such an organization with the Pirates. You know, he's the mentor for Elias Diaz back there.
Yeah, that's the thing, how far along has Diaz come? Probably not that far yet. He's more growing room, probably.
But with that being said, they're not sure when exactly he's going to come back, if I'm reading this correctly. So, he's not having a good year. But that's regardless. I think he's in that stage now where he's fixing to hand the torch off. So,
these rumors, I don't know. It's silly. Really.
But yeah, just wanted to feel like that needed some clarification. I know we were one of those that reported that. So, you can't really do your research on that, but I feel like that's something that we need to properly address.
Absolutely, for a team that's 4.5 back in the NL Central.
Such a shit show, really. That's the best way for me to put it. You know, I at first I was with everyone saying, "Oh, it's such a tough division." No, it's not. It's just a bunch of teams that can't figure out who wants to win. But I think I'm hoping, obviously, because I'm a Cubs fan. I'm hoping that the Cubs will figure this out and kind of start stretching that lead. They're off to a good start. They've won both games, but...
Well, let me ask you this. Are they involved in any of these rumors?
They've talked about possibly picking up another reliever, a lefty, preferably. Ryan Webb's done okay. I still think he could use a little bit more fine-tuning, but so far he's been solid. I did hear some small speculation that, and, please take this with a grain of salt, but there's rumors going around that the Cubs have been out there scouting for Whit Merrifield. Like, thinking, like, what could we do if we wanted this guy? But, honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll depend on how Garcia does, how much he'll grow. Of course, you got Descalzo. There's the rumors of Zobrist coming back in September. So it kind of wouldn't make sense to go out there and get him, even though it would be a better trade or a better,
fit for what they're probably looking
I mean, they do got a few prospects to change. That's kind of blocked right now. You know, the Cubs do have Contreras and Carantini right now. You could trade that catching prospect, Anaya. I think that's his last name. Very highly touted prospect to go to the Royals with obviously some other people. Because the Royals right now, I don't know their farm system, but with Salvador Perez out for pretty much the rest of the year, and
somebody to bring in under the tutelage of Maldonado.
Yeah, exactly. But it's I don't think that I take that with a grain of salt. There's really not a lot to that. I'm more interested in seeing what the Cardinals are going to do and the Brewers are going to do. The Brewers picking up Shelby Miller on a minor league deal. Not really a threat to me. I personally, I don't think that's going to really shake up that team any way.
No, it's going to need to be a bigger piece of the pitching puzzle, I think, for the Brewers to really improve a lot.
And then, you got the Cardinals that are allegedly in talks to get Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah.
I wonder if they're looking at his All-Star Game appearance. Definitely not that good, but I don't know. I mean, if they get Will Smith, that would definitely be. With Jordan Hicks out, I mean, yeah, that's going to be a nice addition to that bullpen, but they've got bigger problems than that bullpen right now.
Yeah, they do.
Underperformance is a team-wide issue with that team right now, especially with their pieces that they've acquired over the last season or two. And the Pirates, I just don't know what they're going to do.
The Pirates can't. They're like the Twins. They're just the hands are tied. Small market. All it is.
But before I ask you about the Twins,
okay,
I do want to give you some names of 7 likely trade candidates that you could see this year.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you the person and the leading front runner for the team. And in your opinion, I want you to tell me how likely this will happen. So number one, probably the number one person that we've been hearing about, Madison Bumgarner. Now, front runner, New York Yankees. What do you think?
I'm not really sure. Yankees, he was hitting the left shoulder area. Comebacker off the bat of Jose Martinez headed into the All-Star break, I believe it was. The last game.
Right.
For the All-Star break. I think he's fine, but
Now, if the Yankees, what is enticing is that if Bumgarner goes anywhere, which I'm going to put money on that he will, but I don't know who, it would be a rental. He's slated to make $12 million this year, and he's a free agent. So, kind of fits the needs of the Yankees. Other teams that have been rumored: Astros, Red Sox, Cardinals, and your Twins.
that was like 2 days worth of a rumor.
Think they'll do that?
No. I think they're a lot more likely for Stroman than they would be for Bumgarner, in my opinion.
Do you guys? How many lefties do you have in that? Do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any?
Well, Mejia can be, but for the most part, yeah, we're just throwing right-handers at you. Gibson, Barrios.
God, Barrios is great. He really is. All right. Number 2, Trevor Bauer for the Indians. Now, these have been picking up steam about whether Cleveland should trade him or not. I'm going to go with a no, but let's just humor this here. Slated to make $13 million this year, he is a free agent after the 2020 season. So if he is traded, he's going to be on that team until 2020. Front runner, of course, Yankees. And then you got Dodgers, Red Sox, and the surprising one to me is the Brewers.
No.
So first off, do you think Trevor Bauer will even go anywhere?
You want to know something funny?
No.
I'm thinking if the situation was different, we have Houston having a 5.5 game lead in the AL West. I think if they only had 2 or 3 game lead at this point, I think Bauer might have been headed there.
Oh, for Houston?
Yeah, I honestly do. Just because the same
Oh
team.
my God, the egos. Jesus Christ, the egos would be... I don't even know I would love to see that. That could be the next best tandem duo there. Breckman and Bauer.
But yeah, with his contract situation with the 6.5 game spread now with the Twins, yeah, he's probably not moving.
I'm
He's got. I just need to throw up in my throat a little bit here.
right. Now, I don't think Bauer's going to go anywhere, but the one that interests me, well, you can exclude the Red Sox now. I think you could take the Red Sox out of these.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
The Dodgers are allegedly in the rumor for starting pitching because they always are.
Rich Hill was having his issues.
15 starters is not enough. But the Brewers is interesting to me. I can imagine a team that has no bona fide ace gets Trevor Bauer.
It's another CC Sabathia Cleveland Brewers maybe, huh?
Yeah. And I think that's honestly a trade that if the Brewers do, that could win them the division.
Yep.
Bauer's just flat out nasty. He's filth. And with how high of a rate the Cubs strike out, how good he's done against the Reds and the Pirates.
I don't know how you guys feel about Keston Hiura now, because Cleveland definitely needs a second baseman like him.
Yeah. I mean, if
that trade Brewers, I think you're going to buy the division.
if they do that, I think they're kind of crowded in the infield. They could trade away, someone that they don't need really. Like, you got Eric Thames and Jesus Aguilar over there at first fighting for position. Pretty much. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've seen a lot of Thames. I can't remember if it's that third base side that's a little crowded, but...
Well, I mean, Shaw's trying to play it, but now they have to use other options because he's just sucked this year.
Right. Number 3, I think there's 6 of these, so I'll make these a little quicker. Number 3, this one I think will happen, even though I don't know to who. Zach Wheeler for the Mets.
Okay.
Slated to make just under $6 million this year. It would be a rental. He is a free agent at the end of the year. Front runners, well, I'm not going to say that team because it's not true. Teams to quote-unquote keep an eye on. Your Twins, Astros, Dodgers, and Cardinals for Zach Wheeler.
Okay.
What do you think? I think none of those are accurate, first of all. I think he's going to go to the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm going through my checklist here. Yeah, cross town, right?
It's just the team that's been linked the most. They've got the guys, the Mets could use a couple more everything. Obviously Cano's not working out for whatever reason, but you can't exactly throw him away. I don't know. I mean, the Yankees got prospects. They got some players that, once everyone gets healthy, we talked about it before, what are they going to do with all those guys?
My next question is, are the Braves going to make a move for another starting pitcher before the deadline? That's kind of been lingering on my mind here in the last couple weeks.
If they do, in my opinion, I don't think it'll be Wheeler. I think they will go after Stroman.
Okay.
I really do. First off, I don't think the Mets are going to trade within the division, no matter how bad they're out of it.
Okay.
That, and I think that what the Blue Jays are looking for, the Braves have in their farm system, especially pitching. So I think, in my opinion, that lines up a little better. But that's a good point. I don't know. I still think Zach Wheeler may go somewhere, even though the Mets have quote-unquote said that they're not sure what they're going to do. Because why wouldn't they know what they're going to do?
Throw a chair and find out, Van Wigenen.
Oh, God, that was funny. I'm going to skip that one because that one's not interesting. We just talked about Marcus Stroman. I guess he is a big...
I'll admit, I think the Twins got as good a shot at it as anybody at getting him. I really do.
That would be the one I would tie him with, too.
Because they've got some guys I think would fit in Toronto. Brusdar Graterol's a name that's been thrown out a lot. Is one of the Twins, pitching prospects, and they're pretty deep in that area in the minors. So I think they could afford it. I think they could afford to do that.
I like the idea of your Twins getting them, and that's definitely a front runner in my opinion. But if I had to pick a National League team, I would go with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now that Jake Arrieta is hurt, they're going to need someone that's just as good, if not better, and younger. And Stroman fits all those. I don't know who they would trade for. I don't know who they would give back, but
That could be the problem.
to see Stroman, to see Stroman in a Phillies uniform with, that division's not over yet, could force the Braves to make an equivalent move. Because Keuchel's not going to be enough. Keuchel will not be enough. But yeah, do you think he's going to go? Well, first off, do you think he's going to go somewhere? Do you think the Blue Jays will unload him?
Oh yeah, I really. If any of the pitchers you've mentioned so far, I think he's the lead candidate. I really do.
He's definitely the American League pitcher people talk about the most. Sorry about that. I always get phone calls when I'm doing something live.
Nobody ever wants to talk to you.
I know, right? A couple more here. Just got two more. We're going to stick with the Blue Jays, go with Ken Giles.
Oh, yes, I've heard about that.
Free agent after the 2020 season, so this will not be a full rental. Not surprising to me, the Phillies have been the closest tied team that are interested in him, which is expected. Other teams have been allegedly Twins, Braves, and Red Sox. All are good fits. So, all right. So it's gonna be Braves or Red Sox.
Not gonna be Red Sox because Eovaldi's gonna be the closer.
Do they have a good setup though? Like is Heath Hembry and
Obviously they
Workman.
unloaded Thornburg, so he's done.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Maybe Giles would be the setup man. The Red Sox guy.
Well, the Braves don't have a bona fide closer. I mean, they've been using Luke Jackson, who's been pretty good, but you got to go with experience, right?
I think so.
Maybe use Luke in the 8th. Have Tukey, he's kind of a long reliever in some ways. But
have you given up on Strop yet for your setup?
No, I haven't. Because A, there's really no one better on the team right now. I like Cishek, but I don't think he's a solid setup guy. Once hitters figure out that he doesn't throw hard, he only throws it in two areas. He'll either throw it down and away from a hitter, because he's mostly facing righties, by the way. So he's usually down and away, or he just tries to jam them. That's usually where he always throws it. So once hitters figure out how to address that, hit in those spots, he becomes very vulnerable because he doesn't have speed. Like his max pitch speed is 89 miles an hour, 90. So, I do like Strop. I still do, despite his issues he's had, which I can't figure out why he's having them. But when he's on, he's very good. So, I don't think the Cubs will go after Giles. Be nice, but they won't. And last but not least, and probably nowhere near as important, when it comes to how big of an impact it'll happen, or how big of an impact this player could be, Melky Cabrera of the Pirates. Free agent after the season, only makes $1.5 million this year. Wow, I didn't know this. Possible front runners, the Phillies. I don't know how I feel about that.
McCutcheon, of course, he's a huge hole.
Right, yeah, but they got Jay Bruce though, didn't they?
Okay.
Am I thinking of the right team? I believe I got Jay Bruce.
He'd be a right-hander though. Bruce is a lefty.
Oh, what, Melky?
But Melky, is he a switch? Maybe he might be a switch hitter. I'd have to look that up. But I think he's either a switch hitter or a right-hander. I can't remember. But
He is a switch hitter.
Bruce is a lefty.
He is a switch hitter.
Okay.
Now,
He's not good against.
I think possibly he could go somewhere because the Pirates just don't use him enough. And I think after Jorge Polanco comes back, gets back into his stride, of course you got Starling Marte that could play anywhere.
Even Gregory Polanco.
Gregory Polanco. Yeah. And of course you got Alex Dickerson. who's solid, not great, but he's what the Pirates need right now. Cabrera could definitely be used on another team, and I'm interested because it says one of the teams is interested are the Cubs, and I'm just like, I don't see where he's gonna fit on this team. If he does, it doesn't make sense.
Carlos Gonzalez, and that's not, Cabrera could be able to be a bench guy like that. I don't know.
Well, if he's gonna be a bench guy, then the Pirates need to hold on to him because I'm pretty sure Cabrera wants to be a little more active.
Yeah. Exactly. Than
what he is now. Cardinals and your Twins, once again, as other teams. I don't know if your Twins, it makes sense for your Twins to get him.
I mean, I understand the depth problem. I mean, Cave has been adequate, but yeah. Cave, Cabrera,
That's not happening, fam. But that's just some possibilities. Of course, there's other people that. I think that
all sorts of interesting stuff coming up here.
It's gonna be a great year. I mean, I think it's gonna be a very interesting deadline, especially with these borderline teams. What are they looking at?
Brought up. I mean, now that the Pirates in it, of course, now they won't move Vasquez probably. But what about the Tigers and Shane Green? We're looking at.
He's got to be moved. He's got to be traded, right? Surely. And with how good he's done this year, the asking price for him has gone up.
Yeah.
He's got to be. Got to be traded.
Him and the starter, Matthew Boyd. I think are going to leave the Tigers.
Yeah. Once again, I've heard the Yankees are interested in him. So.
Yeah, he'll go to the Yankees probably, yeah.
The Yankees will pick up somebody. And probably get hurt. So.
For somebody. Yeah, they'll get hurt.
Of course, and then there's the enigma known as the Rangers. I don't think they'll be sellers, but even though, but just because they're in the hunt right now doesn't mean that they're playoff worthy.
Okay.
Even though you've got a pitching staff that's overperforming, Mike Minor has been holding it down, and then Lance Lynn has been great.
Yeah, get this about Lance Lynn. Was it yesterday? Well, whenever he pitched this week. It was his second game this season with more than 10 strikeouts. Before 2019, Lance Lynn hadn't done that in a game since April 14th of 2014. So already this season, 2 games with more than 10 strikeouts.
He's been really good. And if I'm not mistaken, he's got the most wins in the American League, doesn't he?
He might, yeah. That's a good point.
It's either him or Giolito, I think. I can't remember who off the top of my head. But
Cole, maybe Cole? I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, there's some interesting, value from these teams that are, what are the Mariners going to do? Are they going to get rid of D. Gordon? Are they going to get rid of Malik Smith? Are they going to, they got some pieces that people would want. I don't see the Angels doing anything, really, because I don't know what they can do. And then in the National League, the only one in Miami, I've heard Starlin Castro has been asked about.
Yeah.
But even then, that's kind of a stretch. Castro's not that great. I mean, compared to the the rest of the team that he's on in Miami, yeah, he's good. But if you put him on a team, he's already been with the Yankees. Yankees aren't going to get him. I don't really see him fitting anywhere else.
Yeah, you're correct. Lance Lynn, 12 wins. Lucas Giolito, 11.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, 2 very good pitchers. You don't want him revitalizing his career and one just getting started. Just really good. The Mets, there's rumors, or there's questions being asked. Very interesting questions. Will they trade Noah Syndergaard? Will they trade Jacob deGrom?
Will they even trade Evan Diaz at this point?
Right. I mean, probably the answer is no on all those. Especially on deGrom, since they just gave him an extension.
There's no way they're going to trade DeGrom. No way I can see that.
But the questions that are frequently being asked makes me wonder, is it going to happen? Because we don't know what the Mets are going to do now. They're horrible. I think they're coming to terms that they're horrible.
It's going to be this, yeah, right. Van Wiegenen, we're going to have a picture of Van Wiegenen with the Dynamite TNT plunger.
I think that blew up a long time ago. But I I could see, like we said earlier, I could see Zach Wheeler going somewhere. I don't think Syndergaard will go anywhere. It doesn't make sense. He's been hurt so much. I don't know what team would really take a risk on him. And, of course, DeGrom, as great as he is, he's not going to go anywhere. This is what I think. I don't know.
Speaking of guys that are not necessarily trade guys, but guys that have been DFA'd, what do you think of your man Terrence Gore on the market again?
I'm telling you, man, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The Cubs need a legit person that can steal bases. They don't have it. And that's the man to do it. Because you're not going to get Billy Hamilton. You're not going to get Buxton, obviously. And besides those two...
Malik Smith, the Mariners, is the only other shot he got from them. I think his contract is more than a year, so...
I didn't think about Malik Smith. But I guess if you're going to go the cheap route...
5 years. Huh?
I guess if you're going to go the cheap route, go back with Terrence Gore.
Yeah. Why not?
Put him in there. I mean, Madden plays so many switch games anyway. You know, I mean, if you make him pitch hit or pitch run for Hayward or, Almora or something.
Schwarber if he's playing left.
Yeah, Schwarber. And you put him in front of, especially if he pitches run for Schwarber, then you'd have Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo chance to bring him in. And everyone knows that if one of those guys hits a double, Gore's probably going to score.
Yeah.
So, I just wish they would go get one. You know, I mean, I like Baez. He's not a base stealer. He's flashy. He's not a base stealer. Rizzo, not a base stealer. Schwarber, not a base stealer. Bryant, not a base. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop it already. Somebody's going to pick up Gore. And I hope it's not the Brewers. Or I hope it's not a team that will beat the Cubs. But somebody will pick him up. And I hope so. He seems like a very faithful person. He really does. Like, he doesn't seem like he talks bad about any organization. But, I don't know. One minor note here before we head into our, I guess our Twitter stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Unless this is in your Twitter stuff. It might be.
Okay. All right.
If it is, just stop me.
No, I won't stop you. There's a segue.
The Atlantic League. Testing out some new... interesting rules, to say the least. The one that gets me the most is a runner can steal first base on any pitch that a catcher doesn't catch. I like it. I honestly like it. Now, there are some, obviously some gray areas that will be addressed. Like, when is it considered an attempt? You know, like if a batter twitches toward first base, is that going to be an attempt?
I'd say out of the box, wouldn't you?
I would either say out of the box, or I would say, you know how like a lot of baseball, a majority of the baseball diamonds have the dirt in front of home plate, and you have that grass arch? I'd say if they cross the grass arch, it's an attempt.
Okay.
Because you could go 2 feet, and, it wouldn't be a difference. But if you go like 4 or 5 feet, which I believe is how far that looks like it is from the batter's box, that looks more tempting, like as an attempt. Because sometimes the hitters need that extra second or two to determine how far the ball's gotten away from the catcher. And if they do it on a quick twitch, if they base the rule just off a twitch, that kind of seems a little unfair. But I would love to see what's going to happen with that. I like that rule.
This robot empire started this week calling balls and strikes.
And the results?
Not much different.
Not much difference. Why the F are we doing it then? How the F is it the same difference? Like,
this is why we're experimenting. We want to know.
This was a bad idea from the start, though. We don't want nobody wants robot umpires. No matter how bad they say it, nobody wants it. Pitchers can whine and bitch all they want. Robot umpires is not going to make it better. And this little pre-test result is proof of that. In my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't know if you got the breakdown on it or not, but if you're going with an automated system, and the results are quote-unquote about the same, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And, you know, what about those pitches that are considered strikes, but they look like balls? Like if it's really up and in, or if it's a curve that breaks at literally the last second and it clips so much of the corner of the zone that, you know, the catcher's glove is down here catching the ball. You know, is that a strike? How's that going to look? I don't know. I just don't dig it, you know. Maybe more testing. I'm sure they'll do more testing, but what else was there? There was one more, and I can't remember what it was now. My memory is shot.
Well, if it comes back to
yeah.
Another interesting stats by stats tweet that the American League's first 3 hits in the All-Star game, they all came from Astros.
Right, Marisnick and
history, one MLB team accounted for the first 3 hits by their league's All-Star team.
yeah, Springer and
Springer, Bregman, and Brantley.
yeah. Shouldn't be surprised, am I right? But good for them.
How about another All-Star stat for you?
Bring it.
Including the All-Star game, Mike Trout now 0 for 11 against Hyun-Jin Ryu.
There's got to be a run.
Only pitcher Trout doesn't have a hit against with 10+ at-bats against them.
There's got to be a problem there. That's got to be a typo. Trout is perfect in every way. No sarcasm in that statement whatsoever. That is actually mind-blowing. That's got to end eventually, though.
Somebody's gonna have an vengeance.
Yeah, but Ryu?
Future Hall of Famer.
Man, I thought it would be. I'd be willing to bet more Garrett Cole than Ryu. But
Well, Verlander's been around for so long, I guess.
or Barrios.
Yeah,
Barrios is filthy. The problem with that matchup is that Trout is such a good hitter. You know, I don't know if Barrios' nastiness is going to get him to chase that much.
No.
I don't know. I really don't know. He could, but
He's not at this point.
what else you got going on?
Well, you know, we talked about all-star snubs.
The snubs.
The kind researchers of the internet and, more specifically, the San Diego Padres and MLB stats came up with. They think pretty much that Fernando Tatis Jr. of the Padres was snubbed. Because get this, he's the only rookie ever. I rephrase this for you. He's the only rookie ever to have 10 home runs, 10 stolen bases, and a 950 plus OPS at the All-Star break and not make the All-Star game.
And he's National League shortstop, though, right?
Yeah.
I think he's just outclassed.
Shortstop
You know,
is just too deep, right?
It's not that he's a bad player and doesn't deserve it, but you got to look at who beat him there. You know.
Yeah, a lot of candidates in there.
You know.
And that's something the Twins have been grappling with too in their system. There's just too many shortstops. They gotta trade some of them.
They could. They could. I'm trying to find any stats that I may have found, but so far I'm 0 for. I'm like Trout against. Did you see? And we could pull it up using this new feature. And I say new feature, but I'm going to say a new edition. You know, I think getting some videos behind what we talk about would help show what we're discussing.
Right.
So to test this out, if you give me a second, I will see if I can pull this up. And, you know, this may work. This may not work. This is why we test. We're like Major League Baseball, you know.
That's right. We have our own Atlantic League.
I doubt I can find it, though, because it happened today. I will try, but I cannot guarantee anything. Anyway, but did you see the throw that Bryce Harper did today?
No.
Oh, my Lord. He nailed someone. I think it was Victor Robles. He was going for a triple.
It's the top of the sixth. My latest update. Phillies are up 3-1.
It was amazing. It really was. It was honestly amazing. And if I can pull it up here, if they got it, I would like to hope they have it. If not, we'll use the other example that we'll quickly throw into our quick discussion here. And I don't see it here, so of course it's not going to be there. Oh, pause that. But anyway, so Harper threw out Robles from the warning track. It was quite a throw. I retweeted it on my personal page. Now, you know, the skeptic in me is saying the throw was offline and he got lucky with the tag. Regardless, that's not the point. He threw it from the warning track and it didn't bounce. Like, it was throw, third baseman catch, tag, out. It was, I love throws like that. I really do. And I know I'm not the biggest Bryce Harper guy, but you got to give credit where credit's due there. So what we're going to use this video on is a pretty highly, you know, some people will agree, some people disagree, and I think you know what I'm talking about. And
Jake Marisnick plows.
Yes.
Over Jonathan Lucroy.
Yes.
At home plate this week.
Was it dirty or was it not dirty?
No, it was this week. It was Friday.
So, I say installed. I'm going to make it sound fancy. I have installed, and you might notice the bottom of the screen is a little blank there. You know, nothing there. Boom. Let's have some, you know, watch some YouTube videos on this real quick. Now,
we've had several reports prefacing this that Marisnick wants Lucroy, the Angels organization, and their fans to know he is extremely sorry about what happened. He is going to be serving, what is it, a 4-game, 2-game?
2-game.
4-game? 2-game suspension.
And I think that's wrong. I get why they did it, because it allegedly violated a rule. But I believe Marisnick. I do. Okay. I really do. Let me get to the major part here. So I have the video pulled up. I don't know if you can see it or not.
No, it's fine. I've seen...
You have seen it, though. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, this is, you know, I'll try to credit who I need to credit for this. This is by Raft Productions on YouTube. Now, see, the video is... We'll try to break this down the best we can. But first off, the throw. And I think I paused it at the right moment here. You could already see... My cursor's not on the screen either. But you could see Marisnick is taking an angle on the inside, like inside the baseline.
Yep, and he said this. You know?
Mm-hmm. And I like his explanation of it. I really do. He said that he had a split decision to go either left or right, and he chose to go left. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. He chose to go left, and unfortunately the throw brought Lucroy in the same direction. Mm-hmm. And I legitimately believe him on that. I don't think this was intentional.
Well, I will be the devil's advocate and just say
yes.
A lot have said Lucroy did what he was supposed to do.
He did.
The outside of the plate.
He did. I mean, I think this is just one of those things where the rule applies but doesn't work.
Yep.
You know, it's intended, the rule's there to protect catchers and runners, but because of this unique circumstance, it just doesn't matter. Yep. Nobody did anything wrong here.
Came in and the timing and all that. Yep.
And those people that say, "Oh, Marisnick could have went on the other side of the plate," think about this for 1 second. You're going down the line, and not to mention the game's tied. Bottom of the 8th, game tied. Deep fly ball to right field. You're the runner on third base. You have roughly 3 to 4 seconds to think about how you're going to slide.
Yep.
And then even less of that when you start to see the catcher move like he's catching the ball like Lucroy is, where I got it paused.
Right.
And I just think it's one of those situations where Marisnick chose the wrong direction. So, God, what a hit. I don't think anyone should be mad at Marisnick for this. Lucroy's not, from what I've seen.
Right.
And you know how apologetic he was, even like as I got it paused here. even right after the play, he's there checking on Lucroy.
Uh-huh.
You know, and he said in the post-game interviews, you know, he explained why he went that way. And, you know, I think, did it break a rule? I guess. You know, I guess one way, if you want to look at it, he was inside the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the way the throw, you know, and it's nobody's fault, but the way the throw carried Lucroy, I think it made it look more menacing than what it was.
Exactly.
That's the best I can describe that. But, I mean, regardless, that's a hard hit. And Lucroy said, I think it was today or yesterday, that he remembers the hit and nothing else.
Wow. Okay.
But see, look at this throw. Look. It's bringing Lucroy, of course it's blurry, but it's bringing Lucroy towards Marisnick.
Yep.
You can't blame Marisnick for that.
No.
You know. But, God, what a hit. I think I'm glad the rule's there. That stuff is scary. That's career-ending stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could have, Lucroy could have his neck broken, for all we know. But, regardless, that's such a scary little incident, but I don't think anyone needs to be mad at Marisnick for that. I don't. And I don't agree with the suspension. I mean, I guess by the books, yes, he has to have a suspension.
That's the way they drew it up?
Yeah. You know.
Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at Major League Baseball for doing it. I get it, but I think they should have considered a little more. Okay. Like, if the throw was on the other side of the plate and he went, a la Chase Utley into Ruben Tejada, yeah, absolutely a suspension. But I don't think that was really. I know I'm going to sound crazy, but I don't think that was really worth a suspension. But that's just me. Everyone has different opinions, and there's really no wrong opinion on it. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that it was
a bang bang play? Yeah, you can't do much. Just your hands are tied.
Do you think the suspension was too much or not enough, or
right on where it's supposed to be? To the letter of the rules that they set up for this.
Right. But yeah, that's It was such a scary play, though.
Let's just hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's why it's there.
As few times as possible.
Okay. Well, what else do we got? I know we're about an hour and a half into the show, so.
Yeah, no.
Any closing statements or any thing that you want to briefly bring up?
Just watch, the races. As we're coming down, to the end of July. I guess the trade talk is going to be the big thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
So watch for tweets there. High Takes Corner podcast. We'll put them there. But definitely, as far as the races go, I think your National League Central is the most exciting. Again, just like it was at the end of last year.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more. So far, it's a little bit different intent. So far, it just doesn't. I know everyone's trying to win, but it just doesn't look like it.
Okay. It's on the flip side of what you saw last year with the Cubs, Brewers, and Cardinals all kind of keeping pace with each other and winning. Now, it's just a mishmash.
Right.
Pittsburgh will go on a little run. Milwaukee, after losing 7 in a row or whatever, win like 3 in a row. The Cubs are just up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, and there was a YouTuber I watched that said it correct. Like, he said it, I think, in the best way about the National League Central. He said every team in that division is one hot streak away from winning it.
Good.
And
well put.
I think that was honestly the best way to put it. He said, because I think it was a couple days ago when the Reds were, 41 and 45.
I just noticed this too. So how the hell are the Reds in last place with the second best run differential in the division? That is crazy.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
I just noticed that now and I'm like, what? Because obviously,
I guess they don't score enough runs, which surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, place of Scherzer in the All-Star game.
Did very well.
Great for them.
That'll be a team I also watch. Are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make a push for it? You know, I doubt they're gonna do anything because I don't even think in the wild card they're that far out. Let me see.
Well, our Reds fan Twitter Ray certainly is excited.
Yeah. Oh, geez, man. Everyone's still in it in the wild card except for, well, the Marlins. Like, the Marlins are in last when it comes to, well, everything. But, you know, you've got 2, 4, 6, 8. You got 9 teams, 6.5 games back of the second wild card spot. So it's anyone's race.
Yeah, I definitely lean. I mean, you know, the National League West, obviously the Dodgers are just slaughtering, but yeah, a very exciting wild card race still for all the other teams involved. And then, I mean, American League is just has such separation from the mid to bottom teams in the divisions that you really can't see them as exciting as the National League races.
Yeah. But it seems like no matter who wins the American League pennant this year, they're going to probably be world champs.
I don't know, Matt. I'm going to start to put my money on the Dodgers at this point, especially if they end up adding to that team.
I guess that's a fair point. It depends on what they add, but seeing how they are against the Red Sox so far, it doesn't look good.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. So, do you think the competition that they would have in the National League by the time they got to the World Series against their American League opponent, that's the kind of the factor that you're seeing to their demise?
I think the Dodgers are the 4th best American League team.
Interesting, okay.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And because they don't see an American League team until the World Series, I just, you know, I like the Cubs and I like Atlanta, but let's admit something. They're both not as deep as the Dodgers. You know, payroll aside. You know, even with Clayton Kershaw struggling, he still got a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. With Walker Buehler struggling, he still got, a 4-to-1 or a 4-to-2 strikeout to walk ratio. Yep. Hyun-Jin Ryu is having the season of his career, and he doesn't look like he's going to slow down. Nope. That bullpen could be addressed, but I think if they want it bad enough, they're going to address it. And then we don't even need to talk about the hitting, but let's talk about the hitting. Justin Turner, Alex Verdugo, who's been fantastic. A.J. Pollock is coming back off the injury list.
That's right.
Jock Peterson, who just showed what he's capable of in the home run derby. Now, that doesn't affect his hitting, but if he hits home runs...
Yeah, connects. There you go.
Bellinger. Do we really need to talk about Bellinger?
No, we're probably going to get sick of talking about Bellinger at this point because he's just having a monster season.
Like, there's no one in the National League that has a deeper lineup than the Dodgers. No one. Not the Cubs, not the Braves, not the Nationals, nobody.
Definitely not the Phillies. We thought it was going to be the case at this point, and it isn't.
And this is the scary part, too. No matter what those teams add at the deadline, they're still not going to be as good as the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the Dodgers are going to make it to the World Series. You know, regardless, you know, hopefully there's not a big collapse. You know, of course, there's always that possibility. But if there's not a collapse, they are the best team in the National League. But seeing how they've been playing against the Red Sox, just as a little, you know, bit piece, they don't look that good. They still look so outmanned, which is ridiculous. But that's just what I think. I don't know. I mean, I think the Dodgers do have the advantage of wanting it more badly because they came so close in the last, 2 years?
2 times now.
So it could go. Baseball's it's a very funny thing. You know, the best team could possibly not even make it to the World Series. That's why these things are played in series and not one game.
That's right.
But that's just my theory. You know how my theories go. I'm a big oafer. So now that I've said the the Dodgers will represent the National League, they won't.
We're all wondering, are the Yankees going to represent the American League? And that's still a very big question. Houston's just still so solid. So I heard they were kind of looking at replacing Gurriel at first as well. The Astros.
Are they not using that? What's that guy's name?
Guys?
Well, what's that guy's name? That rookie guy.
Valdez playing
Yeah.
first?
Is he a first baseman?
I thought he was an outfielder.
Oh, he might be an outfielder. I don't know much about him. I just know he's got pop.
Alvarez. Sorry, I keep calling him Valdez. It's Alvarez.
I can't imagine why you'd call him Valdez. Jeez. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I haven't been keeping up. I know that Correa's will be back soon.
Right, that's huge for them.
Diaz is on the similar track to be back, and he's been good for them this year. I think down the line, the Astros are going to have to make a couple hard decisions. You know, do you really want to send back Alvarez down with as good as he's been hitting? And, of course, you got to address the back end of that rotation.
Yep.
And Garrett Cole actually looked pretty vulnerable today against the Rangers. So, maybe just a blemish, but because the Rangers are a good home run hitting team. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't think Houston's as strong as they were last year, but I don't know about the first base thing. Just to completely beat around the question that you asked.
I just hope for their sake, they're not gonna get lulled to sleep in the playoffs like the Red Sox did to them. But man, you got to give credit to the Red Sox too. But I really thought the Astros had that series.
Got to thank Ben Attendee for that, huh?
Yeah, you really do, don't you?
Those catches he made. He missed it. It could have been a completely different World Series.
And that home run, controversial home run, that was a great series. That's been the best playoff series I've seen probably since my Twins back in '91.
So let me ask you. Well, before I ask you this, is that the last topic that we got to possibly talk about?
Yeah, I really don't have anything else.
Okay, well, let me ask you this quickly before we call it a night. Which, by the way, these will be uploaded. The YouTube will be uploaded either later tonight or in the morning. And then the Anchor will be Monday-ish.
When I get to it, I'll get to it.
Yep.
As soon as I can.
When he gets to it, he gets to it.
So, we'll see.
Amish has a very, he's been working a lot. So, bear with us. We're humans, not robots. Beep, boop, bop. But, chances that the Red Sox repeat. Just as of right now.
Percentage?
Yeah.
40. I'll give him 40%.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was literally going to say, I was stuck between 50 or 40, but I think with Cashner, we got to see what he does. So, as of right now, I agree with you 100%. I'm going to go 40%. Just like you did.
Uvalde comes back and slides into the closer role. Is that going to be in time to kind of get him in the playoffs?
I think so. They've got teams to beat up on. They've got a lot of teams to beat up on.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to, in the coming weeks, take a closer look at their schedule down the stretch and maybe come up with something for what we're thinking.
Right. And whatever happens in the next coming week, be sure to tune in on Twitch on Saturdays, 8 o'clock Eastern. That's our regularly scheduled time. Sometimes life gets in the way. But find us here on Twitch, twitch.tv/HotTakesCorner. Find us on YouTube and Anchor, same name. So, till then, we will be back next week. We hope everybody has a great week, and let's let the second half begin, right, Amish?
Yes, let the stretch begin.
Alrighty. Everyone have a good one.